Thank you so much for tuning into my interviews here at Turning Point USA in Phoenix, Arizona. But as you know, we're catching a lot of people that have come here to this conference for multiple reasons, and I'm asking everybody not only the question, where are we losing freedom in America, talking to them about what they're doing to help unite more people on the principles of freedom, but talk about what they're doing within our country that works together with everybody to help save America. And with me today is one of those people that's doing just that, is Dan Fleuette.
Close, William. Fleuette.
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 I just combined it.
You did.
Dan Fleuette. And you wrote a book, and that book is?
It's called Rebels, Rogues, and Outlaws. And it's a pictorial history of War Room, with Steve Bannon's War Room. And it's a series, it's about 90 spreads of different individuals who have been on the show. And so it's portraits and insights into these people.
And we're going to get to the point on how that protects America and what he does with his content, and we're going to get through that right now. So let's talk about that. That book is just one of your, I guess, pieces of content that you put together, but you've done a series of pieces of content that have done things that help bring light, which this book does, to what's going on with the people that are fighting for freedom.
Yeah, absolutely. So my history is I've been working with Steve Bannon for about 20 years, a little bit over. Historically, what we've done is documentaries. We've done a lot of other things as well, but that's our sort of stock and trade. And we've done probably a couple dozen of them over the years. And it ranges from everything from like biopics like we did with Ronald Reagan, to the economic crisis with Gen Zero. And then our latest one, which came out this summer with Kash Patel, which I encourage everybody to go see, called Government Gangsters, which is based on his book of the same title. And it's very relevant today because what it is it shows really what Kash is up against. You know, he's nominated as the FBI director, and quite frankly, there couldn't be a better nomination.
Exactly.
This is the guy that understands it, and he knows how to root it out, and from top to bottom. And our entire film dissects all the deep state machinations, and particularly focuses on, you know, justice and the rot at the FBI.
Right.
So this guy knows it, and he's fought against it very personally. And I think you'll see
He
them
started from the outside, too.
from the outside, but really from the inside. You know, with the Devin Nunes memo, and they were going after all the investigations into Russiagate, all that hoax stuff. And the film, you know, takes you through that, and then of course the Ukraine impeachments and the 51 intel letter. People remember with regarding the Hunter Biden laptop, and you know, just tons of corruption.
Well, when I say from
and
the
rot,
outside, I know his involvement during the Trump administration.
Yeah.
But he's still not inside.
He
of
wasn't.
It.
He wasn't
He's still
in.
kind of on that right on that outer limit of the inside. I guess.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he wasn't in elected office, but
Right.
you know, his background has been as a prosecutor and working with the FISA court, and you know, he knows the process and the ins and out intimately. So when they try to tell you that he's not qualified, he's quite frankly maybe the most qualified guy that's ever been nominated. So don't believe that rot, and you'll understand why when you watch the film, and you'll see why they actually don't want him in there, because
Right,
he is going to be effective. And it's not about retribution, but it's really about finding out where people have broken the law and holding them accountable. And so I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be an interesting process, but if people want to understand what is going on and the history of those things, and find out what it is, you know, first of all, who he is, what he stands for, and the kind of things that he's going up against, well, you couldn't do better. It's just really perfect timing for that. So yeah, Government Gangsters is great.
Your work, while you are shining the light with movies and these productions,
Yeah.
Steve Bannon, Kash Patel, that different thing. Some people might say, well, you're not doing it. They are when
Yeah.
it comes to exposing. But no, you're the guy that's actually doing the groundwork on what they don't have time to do. So you're playing a key integral part of helping them fight for freedom while you're doing it at the same time. And I say fight for freedom, it's kind of of a lazy way of saying sometimes exposing what's going on.
Yeah.
And what I like the fact that you just now said about like Kash Patel is that while many people don't know how much he was fighting for Trump and what he was doing and his qualifications, you're shining that light that he's going to use those circumstances to be able to flush out the bad. That's why they're scared. Did I get that right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's true. And, look, I do my part at how and when I can, using my meager talents where I can be as effective as possible. But, when you have these brilliant individuals like you'll see in this book who I've managed to highlight is this book here. It's important to have it framed in such a way that people can understand what's going on, because that's really half the game, right?
Right.
And
Exactly.
you could have the best product in the world, and if you don't have marketing, you got nothing.
Right.
So it's about getting the word out, and that's one of my little talents, is being able to craft a story and hopefully tell it in the most interesting and entertaining way as possible, while also remaining accurate and true, and give people something that's interesting to digest. So yeah, that's my role, and I do it as much as I can. And I try to be as effective as I can to get that message out and really show what's going on.
Earlier, you said you were involved in a dozen of these projects. We'll say they've all been for different people, correct?
One of the biggest threads is that it's usually with Steve Bannon. He's usually a director, producer, writer, that kind of thing. But yeah, we've got a long history of working together, and it's been a really rewarding 20-year career so far.
I love this. You've been working for 20 years?
Yeah, a little bit over, yes.
Afterwards, I'll tell you, I interviewed Steve Bannon on my show about 2 years ago, and I'm going to tell you, after the interview, because I don't want to make it about me or him, I'm going to tell you, and I've told my audience this, he is actually a very wonderful person.
Yeah.
When you really get to know him, a lot of people criticize him for his online personality, we'll say, but when you get to know him on a personal level with some things, he is actually a wonderful human being.
Yeah.
I got to see a glimpse of his true self, in an encounter I had with him, and he's just a remarkable person. But with your couple dozen works between him, Kash Patel, you've really gotten to see a real overview of where the real fight for what's right in our country, and I always say for freedom, but the reality is these bureaucratic agencies that like Kash Patel is about to expose, Steve Bannon is exposed, and the work that you've done with them to help them expose it and know where to shine the light when the light needs to be shined, which is a compliment to all your good work. What have you seen that you want to talk about with people and really tell them, say, hey, you need to know about this in this piece of work or that in that piece of work?
Well, I think the resounding thread that goes throughout all the pieces is that there's a ton of corruption out there. And one of the most rewarding things in doing this is being able to work with some of the true warriors and patriots and heroes, and that's what I call them, heroes, who have made it their mission to expose this stuff in all kinds of ways. And I will include Steve Bannon in that. And yeah, he really is fundamentally a really wonderful guy. And sorry, Steve, I know you probably hate for me to say that, but yeah, he's great and he's brilliant, and the people that we've been able to work with, and the big pieces of meta content that we've been able to investigate and those kind of things, it's been incredibly rewarding. It's everything from biopics with say Ronald Reagan, into economic crisis, and into like the Antifa types and that sort of thing, and then, like I said, right up into the mass gross corruption that we've seen with the deep state over the last few years, which I think people can really recognize today in a way that they haven't been able to in the past. It's really right in your face. And so I think we're seeing and we're going to see a bit of a renaissance in this country with Donald Trump being elected. And, I think I'm one of the maybe many, maybe few, I don't know, but my personal take is that I think it was very fortuitous that we had to undergo the election results of 2020 and that Donald Trump is not currently sitting in the White House. I think that in that intervening time that people have really come to understand how dirty and rotten the deep state is in particular. And it can be from just individuals to agencies or what have you, with the COVID madness and everything else. I don't think Donald Trump would have been able to operate in that environment very effectively. They were very good at handcuffing him in his first 4 years. He had one investigation and alleged scandal after another, and he was spending all his time dealing with that stuff. And as I said, in the intervening years, people have come to understand it for what it is, which is a big giant lie.
Right.
And so I think those 4 years were very important to be able to shed a light on that. And so now I think it led to the resurgence of him, and I think it very directly led to him being elected in 2024. And I think we're going to see some really great things as a result of it. So I'm incredibly excited.
What I like that I hear from you is that you've gotten to see this from a different perspective. The average person listens to shows and gets information, sees things, or they're watching TV, they're getting inundated with the narratives, that are pushing ideologies and agendas. And then you've got, of course, when I interview the actual host like Steve Bannon or somebody else, I get another perspective. But you have a very unique perspective in that you're working with these celebrities or content creators or people that are doing the work, and then you're behind the scenes getting to see it from a perspective where you're getting to see all the information before it gets put out to the public. So you're seeing not only the whole story, you're getting to see behind the scenes, you're getting to see the true intentions of the people that are behind it, like Kash Patel or Steve Bannon.
Sure.
So is there any other comments from that unique perspective that you could convey to people in a way to help make them open their eyes?
Well, look, I think that we're seeing it all unfold in real time. And yes, I get to work behind the scenes and see a lot of this unfold. But it's not anything, you tune into War Room is all I got to say. Is like those people are there, they're talking about it, Steve's talking about it, and it's really unfiltered. I'm not necessarily getting something that you're not going to see live on air. Maybe I get to understand it a little before, but that's one of the things I wanted to do in this book is really to understand. So this book is 90 different people, 90 spreads of people who have been through the War Room, and the one thing that I've always respected about these people is their willingness and the fight inside them, right? To stand up against whether it's the COVID madness and risk losing their jobs or reputations, getting debanked, losing their friends and families, or standing in the community, whatever it is.
Right.
And their willingness to stand and fight and say, I need to tell the truth because this stuff is rotten. And it's that sort of courage that, really inspires me. So yeah, I do make documentaries and I do content, but really it's these people that inspire me. And I wanted to do my small part to be able to reflect that back to them and show the world, what these people mean to me. And I think I capture it really well in these spreads. And it's not bios. It's, just as beautiful portraits as I could possibly take.
How did people get this book?
Well, the best way is
fantastic.
Thank you. It's available online, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, bookshop.org. So anywhere you buy your books online, you can find it.
Do you have a website too?
I'm building a website. I'm a little behind the curve there. I'm not.
Yeah. So they look up Rebels, Rogues, and Outlaws by Dan Fleuette.
Very good. You're getting there.
I got at that time the Victorian History of War Room. It's a forward, of course, by Stephen J. Bannon. Yeah. They'll be able to find this. I will post a link, and when I post this interview, I'll post a link, to this, to the book here, so people can find out where to get it. Two more questions as we exit.
Yes, sir.
Exit on here. Were you always this passionate about getting out this kind of information?
No.
Where there
No,
there was,
absolutely
there
not.
was a before this.
There was a definite. There was a very distinct before this.
Or what was your war room?
My war room was this. I was asked back in 2003 by a friend of mine to come on to a documentary project and help produce it. Now, I'm a product of art school in Los Angeles, and I had graduated just, maybe a couple years before this.
Right.
And I was not I wasn't reflexively political, really, but I held my beliefs and I thought I understood. There's certain things they teach you in art school, and it ain't the truth. They teach you how to be political and how to be maybe a little bit of a radical and that sort of thing.
But I found and paint as long as you paint in blue.
You paint within the lines.
Paint within the lines and paint from the left.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very true. And in doing research for this documentary and meeting Steve in the Ronald Reagan documentary called In the Face of Evil, it was based on Peter Schweitzer's book of Reagan's War. It's a fantastic book. And in doing my research, this guy who was not very political, was more cultural, social, and interested in art, I came to understand the degree that I had been lied to. And I really came to see Ronald Reagan as a very, not just an interesting man, but a very great man. And I came to have a lot of respect for him. And honestly, I got very angry because I'm a truth seeker myself. And I understood that I had been lied to and I had bought it for all these years. And I kind of, at that moment, made it to my father's eternal joy. I made it a bit my mission in life to bring truth to people. And that was my moment. Yeah, but it was certainly was. 25 years ago, had you told me this was my career, I would have told you you're nuts. It was not going to happen. So, yeah.
That's a fantastic story. Yeah. My last exit question here is, where do you think we are losing freedom in America?
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, look, we're losing freedoms across everywhere. We're losing freedom of information. We're losing freedom of movement. We're losing freedom of agency. But with all that said, I don't want to be a doomsday guy. I think there is, like I said, a resurgence and a renaissance in this country that we've been able to see the burgeoning witness to with Donald Trump's election. And I think what we're going to see with more pushback from people like your audience and the War Room audience, and as much as we can get the message out, as long as we can wake people, not even wake them up, but just show them the alternative and say, hey, this is your Ronald Reagan's war moment, right? This is it. And, maybe you've been lied to, and armed with this information, you can go out there and fight as well and bring these freedoms back to the thing that made us the greatest nation on God's green earth. It's very important. So yes, you can say we've lost quite a bit of freedoms, but you know what? We don't have to stick with that. We don't have to take it. We can fight back against that and grab our freedoms back. And I think that's the power of these audiences. People, and I tell them, particularly when we were doing our screening tour over the summer with Government Gangsters, the people are like, what do we do? What's going to happen in the election? This stuff's so rotten. And I like to encourage people not to feel disempowered, that they actually are very powerful, and that everybody's small part adds up to something huge. Right. So when you talk to your neighbors, when you send out social media posts, when you traffic information and push it around, and you have meetings with other like-minded people, that kind of thing, or even not like-minded people, right. And you have honest, open, free, frank discussions with them respectfully, you can really make a huge difference. And like I said, I think we saw that in November. And I think that if we keep that up, we're going to see it more and more, because quite honestly, the stuff we see out of the left is just sheer insanity these days. Right. And unfettered, those guys, I just don't think that they have a place where they stop. I just don't know where the madness ends. And I think it's very important for people to do that. And like I said, not feel disempowered, but actually feel empowered that the things that they do matter, the things they consume matters, that where they get their news matters. It doesn't mean don't go investigate the other side, but it means investigate both sides. See what's up, what resonates with you, you know, and arm yourself with that kind of information and go out and use it. And you know, so I think we'll see maybe more freedoms.
I love this.
Yeah.
I love this. I absolutely love this, Dan. I really appreciate you, man. I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate what you've done, and I appreciate that you have passion to shine a light on not only good information and but accurate information, and you do it in a very positive way to show people, you know, that it's not about the media, the narratives, and the ideologies. It's about what people are actually doing truthfully.
It's about a search for truth, and that's the only thing that really matters at the end of the day.
I love this. Thank you so much. I'm going to ask everybody, please, I'm grateful for your time, but ask you also to please share this information with other people that you find are truth seekers, because when you find yourself to be a truth seeker, spread that information, look for the other truth seekers, support each other, and that is how we save this country. Thank you so much.